those C's are your higher self. Calm, confident, capable, curious, all of that is your higher self. If you're not in any of those, it is a part that you have blended with that is pretending to be you right now. Hello, gorgeous lady. Welcome back to Higher Self and I. Today, we are diving into the next level version of you, that 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever 0.0 you are on. I am having so many conversations with my clients about fully allowing themselves to be playing, to be being, to be doing in that next level of you. And I wanted to talk about a few things today. I wanted to give you my experience of stepping into Rebecca 2.0, which happened in August of last year. I also want to have a look at the gaps between the level that you're playing at now versus the level that you want to be. And then lastly, I actually want to talk about how to create the safety in not only holding the level that you're moving towards, but equally being able to be out of your comfort zone a lot and having things in place that is going to mean that you can sustain being out of your comfort zone. I had such a beautiful, beautiful gal out of my community messaged me and said, Beck, I am playing so much out of my comfort zone at the minute and just, not in my business, but also in my personal life. And I'm really struggling to sustain being able to be outside of my comfort zone. And what would you say to actually hold that safety and not get knackered all the time? Because stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping into the new level, stepping into that next level version of you, 2.0, we're going to be calling it today, it requires energy. It requires you really stepping into the energy of being that, doing that, having that. And actually, how can we sustain that whilst looking after ourselves and whilst really making sure that you are holding the safety within that as well? So let's dive in. My Rebecca 2.0 journey was thrust upon me when I decided to move back from Australia. And I had created a very successful, profitable business in Australia. I had a very nice life in Australia. I had friends. I had a beautiful house, my dog Finley. There was a lot of things that were really great about Australia, but equally, there was a lot of emotions inside. There was a lot of beliefs and my relationship that weren't that great, to be honest. And actually, me removing myself from that situation, me coming home, coming back to the UK just for a visit initially. For those who don't know, I came back for a visit after being in Australia for 3.5 years. I really started to see where the blocks were, where I was holding myself back, where I was playing small. And I think sometimes it takes you taking a step back, or it takes you having different eyes on your business. This is why I'm so I'm so pro investing. I'm so pro having different eyes on your business, someone to call you out, someone to speak back what you're saying, for you to be able to see where you're stuck, where you're staying in your comfort zone, etc. And coming back to England made me see a lot. Always reminds me of Parent Trap. And when I moved back, I decided that I couldn't just move back and be the same person that I was. And there was a lot of reasons for that. The relationship, finances were different here. I was living in a different country. I was basically running a very different business. It was going to be a very different business, a different business model. I was also massively changing my niche. And massively changing my ideal client. So it really felt like I was at that crossroads of like, I have to step into Rebecca 2.0 right now. I have to really step into her. I have to really become her, to embrace her, to be her. and a lot of things have got to change with me. And that felt really scary. I remember having a conversation with one of my team members, Natalie, and she was like, Beck, we're changing everything. You're changing this, you're changing that, you're changing this. How about we change your hair as well? Like, I went full gung-ho on Rebecca 2.0. I changed my branding, I changed my niche, I changed my ideal client, I changed my website, I changed the podcast name, I changed locations, I changed countries, I was in a new relationship, I changed accountants. I really was doing it all. And you do not have to do that, by the way, to step into the next level version of you. I was just obviously in a place where I was moving back from the other side of the world. So I had the scope to be able to go, right, eject, what's next, who is next. And going through this, it felt really unsafe. Like, of course, I'd had the niche, my niche has always had the subconscious mind, and it's always had mindset included, but I fell so far into the visibility, into the content, which is amazing now because it means that I am epic at content, I'm epic at teaching my clients content, and I'm epic at teaching embodiment and conversion and attraction marketing. So I bless myself for falling into that. But I really wanted to bring it back to the alignment, to me, to what that looked like for me and the kind of growth of my business that I wanted. So the first thing that I really had to look at was, where were the gaps? And this is the first thing that I wanted to talk about today. So if you are currently in the scope of going, I feel an up level coming, I feel that insert name 1.0 is ready to be shed. She has served me well. I am so grateful for her, but I'm ready for that next level. I'm ready for that 2.0. What does that look like? And the first thing that I started to do was I actually started to live my life, to run the business energetically more than anything. I didn't have to change anything physically, but I started to show up in my business the way that I wanted Rebecca 2.0 to be. And what this allowed me to see was any gaps. When we're doing and going through up levels, lots of gaps start to open where you're like, whoa, okay, I need a better onboarding system. Whoa, okay, my website's not working as well. Whoa, okay, I'm not looking after my health enough. It starts to open these gaps. And what I could see when I was stepping into that 2.0 was a lot of gaps, both from a mindset and energetics point of view, but from a strategy point of view too. And it was only because I allowed myself to step into that. It was only because I allowed myself to fully go into 2.0 that I started to realize what needed to shift, what needed to change, and starting to do that slowly. So I moved back in the August, and we fully launched the rebrand in November. So everything went live. I think it was around November the 1st. So Happy New Year to Rebecca 2.0. And so I had August, September, October to really understand what I wanted it to look like, how I wanted things to change, how I wanted me to change internally. I was going through a huge breakup. I was going through a huge grieving process of leaving a life that I thought I was going to have, and then realizing how unhappy I was and how I'd known that for so long. There was a lot in there. There was a lot in there from a mindset perspective, and I did a hell of a lot of work on that. And I still tap into the work on that every now and again. So I was going through not only a shedding of Rebecca 1.0 in my business, I was also shedding Rebecca 1.0 in my personal life too. And it was about really understanding, when I step into Rebecca 2.0, where are the gaps? What is going on? And I did this, I actually think I spoke about this in a podcast episode with my client, Natalie. She really wanted to step into that $3 million nat. And I got her to do this exact exercise where I said, okay, I want you to live for this week as if that $3 million business is yours. What would you be doing? How would you be showing up? What meetings would you be going to? What would you be saying no to? What would you be saying yes to? What would you be passing on to your team? How would you be looking after your health? What would happen to your finances? Really looking so holistically into that, that it really made her see the gaps in which we needed to fill. Because it's all well and good, energetically going, okay, let's go, Rebecca 2.0 is here, and then not having any of the external to back it up, to hold you in that. We need to have a look at the strategies that you want to step into for your 2.0 version. We need to have a look at the type of clients you want to speak to in your 2.0 version. And I think the more work we do on ourselves, the more we shed. The more work we do on ourselves, the more we change. So never ever be scared that you feel like you're outgrowing your life, that you're outgrowing your business, that you're outgrowing your friends. It's going to happen when you are doing this much work on yourself, because the beliefs that I had just 1 year ago, it looks very, very different to me this year. And that's why a lot of friends that I had before I went to Australia, I don't have them in my life anymore. And that wasn't a choice. That wasn't me like, they're done. It was, I got back, we saw each other a couple of times, and then the friendships kind of just drifted off around me. And I think you have to be okay with outgrowing certain things in your life, especially being ambitious, especially being and driving to where you want to be, especially going to that next freaking level that not a lot of people will allow themselves to go to. It's very usual in this industry to talk about making the amount of money, to talk about being in that next level, to talk about the goals that you want to achieve. But a lot of people who aren't in this industry, they're not playing at that level, and that's okay. So I think just knowing that the shedding probably will happen, and you need to be okay with that, because it's only the story, it's only the perceived perception that you're putting on it that's making you want to hold on to the way that you're doing things, the people in your life, etc. So first things first, you're going to have a look at you really stepping into that 2.0 version of you. Energetically, what does that look like? Mindset, what does that look like? From your body, from your health, what does that look like? And then from your business, your team, your expenses, your finances, your strategy, your product suite, your clients, all of those things, really looking and going, okay, from where I'm going, is this 2.0 level of me, level of health, level of finances, level of business, going to allow me to go there? And right now I'm in a level 3.0, like I'm on that next level, I'm on that next trajectory again. And that's okay. I love the growth. It's so nice when you get to that point where you're like, whew, okay, I'm feeling a little bit like I've outgrown this now, or I'm feeling a little bit like I've outgrown my messaging. I'm feeling a little bit like I've outgrown that type of client. And it's having the bravery to truly step into that, and kind of testing what it looks like. This is where my performing arts days comes in very nicely, because you can be as if that level has already happened to you. You can be as if that level is already yours. And what that's going to do is that's going to open the gaps for us. It's going to show the beliefs that are stopping you. It's going to show the logistics of your business that's stopping you. It's going to show the bits in your life that are currently holding you back. And that's when we can start to really become, one, self-aware, and two, start to shift through it. So that's my 2 pence worth on really stepping into that next level of you. Now, what I want to do is I want to actually speak into when you're actually stepping into it, because it's all well and good having this strategy to go to that next level of yours, to step into the 2.0 of yourself and what that looks like. But for me, for my clients, the most important bit is that we sustain it. Because I cannot tell you how many clients have come to me saying, Beck, I hit the 10K month, but I hit it once and then I've never hit it again because it felt so scary. Or, Beck, I had a multi six-figure business previously, but I cannot seem to make that work for my business now. So they've kind of gone there and something's happened for them to feel that they cannot sustain it. And the subconscious mind wants to keep you safe. So if that previous was unsafe, so say for instance the 10K example, one of my clients, she will know who I'm talking about. She hit a 10K month in her old niche, and she hit it, and she had so many clients and she was so busy that she was like, I can never do that again. So her subconscious mind evaluated that amount of money with that amount of clients being unsafe. So no wonder she couldn't step back into 10K months. Even though consciously she knew we were doing it in a different way, even though consciously she knew it didn't have to be that amount of clients or that way of doing things or that timetable that she went through, we had to do work on a very deep subconscious level for her to see, and for her subconscious to see safely, it's okay to go back into this level and scale beyond. You know, every time she hits a new revenue goal, at which she's been absolutely flying with the last couple of months, I get her to create the safety around that. I get her to create the neutrality and go, look, it's safe. Because a lot of the time I would ask, or we would question on, get curious on her revenue, or, you know, how much cash has she had in this month? And she would say it out loud and go, oh my God, I need to freak out. I need to do this, like, this feels unsafe. But it's because we were building the safety in the up level. And that's the very first thing that we need to do. So when you are stepping into that next level version of you, and to be honest, this kind of brings in my third point that I wanted to speak about today, which is being outside of your comfort zone. You know, you stepping into Rebecca, insert your name 2.0, is going to be out of your comfort zone. And if it isn't, you ain't stepping into the next level. So you are going to be out of your comfort zone a lot. I was out of my comfort zone on stories because I was speaking to a new type of client. I was out of my comfort zone in the place that I lived because my whole schedule, my whole being had changed. I was out of my comfort zone with how I sold. I was out of my comfort zone a lot. So we really have to create the safety in actually holding and sustaining that new level before we move on to the next. And you can move on to the next quicker and quicker. Some of my clients like to sustain that level. You know, some of my clients like to sustain their 2.0. They'll get to 2.0 and go, okay, Beck, I've done the growth right now. I'm just going to really hold on and create safety and sustain my 2.0 for the next 4-6 months. And then we have a conversation once they've created the safety around the 2.0. And then I go, okay, we've got the safety now. We've held that. Sometimes it could be months. Sometimes it can be years, and then they're ready to move into the next. But what you need to do is start to look for safety, create safety, not look for, create safety in this next level version of you. So the first thing I want you to do when you are stepping out of your comfort zone a lot, when you are moving into that next level a lot, and it feels quite energetically heavy, it feels, you're obviously working quite consciously, because we're shifting beliefs, we're shifting belief systems, we're shifting neural pathways. You know, that's like habitual changes. That's tough. It's hard work. You know, we can't dysregulate that. We can't disregard that, because it is, you know, that's why people can't hold habits, change habits, is because we have to work hard to do that. So what I want you to do as you're moving into this next level version of you is, one, create a safety list. So what in your life right now makes you feel so goddamn safe? For me, it's watching The Holiday. And I know this sounds ridiculous, and I've pretty much had a film through every level that I've been through that makes me feel safe. We've all got a film that makes you feel so comfy, cozy, and safe. The Holiday is it for me. I watched it 3 times last week. Don't come at me. It is nearly Christmas. However, when I was going through this would have been right at the beginning of my business. Sex and the City film was my comfort. Devil Wears Prada has been my comfort. Gavin and Stacey has been my comfort. And it's so silly and so I don't know, it's just such a silly little tool, but it has so much impact, because if you can create these little pockets of safety around you stepping out of your comfort zone, the more your subconscious will feel safe to do that. So really creating the safety in other areas of your life. So I want you to have a bit of a reflection and go, okay, what makes me feel safe right now? Now, it can be external things. We don't want to put all of the emphasis on the external things. I'm going to talk internal in a minute. But what are those things that make me feel safe? Is exercise. Does that make me feel safe? Does watching a film make me feel safe? Does having a beautiful meal out with my partner make me feel safe? Does recording a podcast make me feel safe? You know, I really, one of my safety lists is learning. Like, learning for me makes me feel so grounded and so safe in the knowledge that I have and the knowledge that I'm learning. So I make sure if I'm going through an up level, I'm doing a lot of learning. I'm learning about myself, but equally, I want to learn more as well. So, what is it that makes you feel safe? Have a little look in your week to week, month to month. What do you do that makes you feel safe? Is it going and having the hottest cup of tea in your blanket next to your doggy? Like, what is it that makes you feel so safe that you can ground yourself and make sure you're putting these little pockets of safety into your week? Because that way we can have safety in your life while still holding the up levels of stepping out of your comfort zone. So that's number one. Number two, the internal is really having a look at telling your subconscious how safe you are, finding the evidence of how safe you are. And that is something that I do with my one-to-one clients all the time. Every time they come to me with a new piece of evidence that supports the next level we're stepping into, we celebrate the shit out of it. We really do really celebrate that evidence. And I go, oh, another piece of evidence for the subconscious bank. You know, this is another piece of evidence of how safe it is for me to step into Rebecca 2.0. So for instance, when I was launching the podcast, I did like a behind the scenes stories of the podcast before it went live into Higher Self and I, into what you know it is now. I've had many iterations of the podcast in the past. But before I landed Higher Self and I, and actually the first episode that went out with that, which is episode 100, which goes down in history as the most downloaded episode because I obviously bear all on my breakup, etc. But as I was doing that, I actually did a week of like teasers, of trying to guess the name, of like lots of different things. And that evidence for me of how excited I was putting that on stories, of how excited I was getting that out to the world, of the buzz that I felt recording those episodes, I was like, whew, subconscious, look how safe and fucking exciting this feels. And I think we have to just really reiterate that with your subconscious mind. Really go, whew, okay, I'm feeling unsafe. We're doing the safety dance. You know the safety dance. I've talked about it many times before. And look how excited I am. Look how I'm going to handle it. This comes back to, okay, how am I going to handle Rebecca 2.0? What's it going to look like? Tell your subconscious mind how safe it is for you to step into it and what you are going to achieve if you let yourself do it. And you have to keep reminding it, because it's going to go back. It's going to go back. It's going to go back to those old beliefs, but we don't want them to. We don't need that old neural pathway anymore. We want this delicious, divine new neural pathway of insert your name 2.0, where your dreams become your fucking reality. That's what we want. And we want your subconscious to go, whew, okay, this feels scary, but I'm doing the safety dance and I am with you. I am on board. Here we go. So really, really looking at that. this brings me to my next point, which is actually speaking to the parts of you that potentially may show up when you're stepping into that next level, because it is scary. It's scary to hit a new level of income. It might be scary to speak to a different type of client. It might be scary to run your business completely differently. It might be scary to book a holiday and pay for your full family to go. Like, I get it, that next level feels scary, but it only feels scary because parts of you, what we call parts work, parts of you are coming in going, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. We have a real bad experience of you playing bigger. When you were 4 years old, you tried to play bigger in assembly and everyone laughed at us. So therefore we can never, ever, ever play bigger again. That's what your parts come in. And we have lots of different parts, overwhelmed part. We can have sad part. We can have frustrated part. They're all those parts of us. It reminds me of Inside Out, the Disney film. That's exactly what parts are. They've come in for a reason to protect you from an event that's happened in your childhood, usually ages of 0 to 7. So actually what I want you to do is speak to those parts. If you are not in calm, confident, curious, capable, if you're in none of those C's, it's a part. Those C's are your higher self. Calm, confident, capable, curious, all of that is your higher self. If you're not in any of those, it is a part that you have blended with that is pretending to be you right now. It's taken over the mothership. Beep, 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 beep. It's put in its beliefs and it's making you act from that part. And we need to speak to that part. We need to go, hey, I know. How old do you think I am? That usually gives us exactly where that part came in. What are you protecting me from? What do you need to know to feel safe in this time? How could you help me better? What different job role would you prefer? This is all really deep work I do with my clients. So I'm not going to go too fully in it because you have to experience that one-to-one with me. But all of these questions allow you to really understand the parts that step in to try and stop you from stepping into that next level. And then the last one for me is that gradual exposure. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm an all-in, all-out kind of gal. And it is a pattern of mine. I'm very, very aware of it. And I do try and not be all in and all out. But sometimes you have to motherfucking be all in. And that's exactly what I did for Rebecca 2.0. Like I said earlier, I changed everything about my life. And I've thrived off that. I've thrived off being all in. But sometimes that doesn't work. And I wouldn't prescribe that for everyone. And I wouldn't prescribe it for me again anyway, because my nervous system was through the roof. It was absolutely shot. And I was in fight or flight. I mean, you can't be in fight or flight for too long, but I was in fawn, which is a part of our nervous system. I was in fawn for a very long time. So I wouldn't say go all in, but sometimes it does require that. And I will honor myself for doing that. But I think the gradual exposure will really help you step into that next level version of you. So if you've done the exercise that I spoke about right at the beginning, where you fully step into the energetically what your 2.0 self looks like, and you start to see the gaps, pick one gap to start working on, to start opening your comfort zone, to stepping out of your comfort zone. Gradually expose yourself to that. Do some work, make that the habit, then move on. Don't go and change everything in a day. Because again, your subconscious is going to revert back to what you know as soon as you're tired, overwhelmed, anything like that. It reverts back to the beliefs that are most ingrained. It wants the path of least resistance, guys. So yes. So I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast episode. There was loads of little pockets for you to actually go away and implement. So please make sure you do. Don't just listen to this and go, whew, okay, that was a good episode, and then forget about it for the rest of your life. Because I want you to step into that next level and More importantly, I want that next level to be safe and sustainable and to feel easy so you can keep growing and growing and growing to bring in the life that you desire. I love you so much. Let's tap into that 2.0 version of you. And if you've enjoyed this episode and you haven't left a rating or a review yet, why not? No, I'm joking. But if you do want to leave a review or if you want to share it on your stories, I will be internally grateful. I love you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode. Mwah!